should we get started then, you think?
Uh-huh.
Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room Podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello.
Hello.
Get your video turned the wrong way again. Not that it matters, it doesn't matter that much.
What?
Make sure you got your video turned horizontal again. Put it sideways and it'll make it bigger so it'll be about the same size as my video. I don't want your video to be smaller than mine. Here we go.
Like that?
Yeah, better.
What's going on, Maggie?
Takes up more room. All right, so today we're going to be reviewing Bad Batch episode 14, War-Mantle. It's only one episode this time because the next two episodes are 1 and 2-parter episodes. So we're going to review that, and we've got some news and question of the week that goes with it. So, sound good, Scott?
It's time for the news.
All right. So the first news thing we've got is basically a somewhat in-depth thing about the Black Krrsantan Wookiee, Krrsantan. That's how you say his name. In the history of him, because he's got we saw him in the Book of Boba Fett, but he's got a much bigger history in Star Wars in general. He's involved
He's in the comics, right?
Yeah, he's in the comics. He's involved. He's one of the bounty hunters that Darth Vader uses. A couple other people use. His actual debut was in a comic with Darth Vader. And he was with Boba Fett. They were both accepting the same job because he needed 2 bounty hunters, I guess.
Competition.
And this is interesting too. Because he was involved with Darth Vader. There in the comics, there's this character called Aphria, Aphra, and she's a doctor, and she is a planet archaeologist kind of person. She studies the cultures and stuff of planets, and she is all about being powerful and stuff. So that's where most of the stuff where this Krrsantan guy is at. So Dr. Aphria, and it's interesting thing too, because I read one of the Dr. Aphria books. Like I was saying, most of it's in the comics, but there's a couple books out too, and she's an interesting character. She does certain things for Darth Vader, while Darth Vader is looking for Luke Skywalker, because he wants to kill the rebel scum that blew up the Death Star, you know, so he's looking for Luke Skywalker. Of course, this is before he realizes that Luke Skywalker's his son, but he also has a career, as we kind of alluded to in Boba Fett, where he was what they call a pit fighter. You know, where they would
Like gladiator.
put different people in a ring, and whoever wins the battle, and usually when you win because you survived, you didn't get killed. And he was a huge star in one of those. Obviously, he never died, but he won quite a few. He was captured and made to fight for a while too, because, you know, he had a reputation for fighting, and, you know, some people wanted to make some money off of him, so they captured him and forced him to fight. And it says that these brothers that captured him, the Zonti brothers, they also cybernetically enhanced him, so he's got some mods on him too that we don't
Oh,
see.
wow. Oh well, you got
some
the paw claws or the electrical stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think those are just attached, you know, things you can, you know, kind of like put on like a glove or whatever.
Oh,
It says
okay.
here he's got some plating on his exoskeleton, which or endoskeleton, which is, you know, the spine and stuff on the back and whatever. And there was a point when he's fighting that he ends up fighting, at least in the comics, he fights Luke Skywalker in one of them, and that's where he also has a battle with during one of his you know, bounty hunter things. He has a battle with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And if you remember in the Boba Fett, he had he had a scar on his over his eye.
Yeah.
That was given to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, wow.
By his lightsaber.
So does that mean that he may show up in Obi-Wan?
It's possible. It's very possible, and they talk about that in here too. Okay, in the early days, Krrsantan worked for Jabba the Hutt. He took a trail that led him to Owen and Baru Lars, where Luke Skywalker's at, which is how Kenobi got, you know, because he didn't want. He was working for Darth Vader, which was looking for Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
He didn't want this guy to report back to Darth Vader that Luke Skywalker was right there under his nose on Tatooine. So they had a battle over that. And like I said, there's a big part of the comics where he's working with this archaeologist, Dr. Afria. But that's him in general. He's worked for the Hutts. He's worked for Darth Vader. He's worked as a bounty hunter on his own. He's done quite a bit in the Star Wars. I would say a lot of that's Legends.
Yeah.
Because most of those comics are Marvel comics.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel actually does most of the comics anyway, but I don't think any of them are officially canon or anything like that yet. Some of the Darth Vader ones are, I guess. But I don't think Dr. Afria is even canon yet. And
But his whole motivation was money. You know, if it was a bounty. he really went in our research who the
Right.
bounty was.
Well, I mean, it was, you know, a little bit, but also, he had, from what you remember from Boba Fett, he had lots of aggression too.
Yeah.
So, maybe bounty hunting was a way to, release some of that aggression towards the bounties he was getting. And he probably took harder bounties on purpose because he could handle it and wanted to, release aggression.
Yeah.
That one is that's one of the articles, and that one is actually from StarWars.com. They put an article out this last week all about this guy. The next one is from a place called cinelinks.com, and it talks about the Star Wars Visions shows. The ones where they had most of them look like they were samurai
Kids.
kind of kids
Yeah.
and stuff like that, all animated, and it's saying basically that they have heard that there's going to be a season 2, and it's supposed to be announced during the celebration stuff in May. That all comes around the same time Obi-Wan Kenobi's coming out, but it's
Is that week? Is that conference that week?
Yeah, it's all that week. The 23rd, I think, through the 27th or whatever.
Okay.
The entire, it's quite a bit, and that's because they have all these panels and stuff talking to, different people, and most of our shows are going to have a panel there. There's going to be a Boba Fett. There's going to be a Bad Batch one where all the voice actors and directors and all that stuff are there. There's going to be a special panel with David Filoni and what's his name, Favre or whatever. Anyway, this Visions season 2, it's basically going to be. It may not be continuations of some of the scenes we saw, because most of those were all one-off scenes, right?
Yeah.
Not really any of them were related to each other. I mean, in general, they were, because they were telling Jedi stories or whatever, or a different take on the Jedi, stuff like that. Kids realizing that they've got another power or whatever. That one was almost just an entire romance thing, wasn't it? It was like Anyway, it doesn't specify, because they don't know probably that any of those are going to continue, but there maybe are just going to provide more of the same thing. More.
Yeah, probably new warriors or something, or I don't know.
Yeah, and they're saying that it's going to be in the fall. They've heard dates of something in September and something in October. And I think last year when it came out, it just came out, randomly. It was during another show that was on. I think it was during Mandalorian.
Yeah, they just drop it on the menu on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna have a big it's this date, or they're just gonna drop it.
We'll probably hear something, because I think there's supposed to be a panel at Celebration.
Oh, okay.
It says here, one source is pretty confident that we'll get confirmation and even footage during of Star Wars Visions season 2 during Star Wars Celebration. Lots of Star Wars there. They're kind of being really tight-lipped about a lot of stuff, because they want to save some surprises for Celebration next month. So, and that's like I've said before, that's why we haven't seen a lot of Star Wars news lately. It's because keeping it tight.
You can't give up. You can't give anything up when people pay that much to go.
Yeah,
to that place, do that stuff.
It's expensive for sure. All right, so the next article is again from StarWars.com, and I think this is an older article. Yeah, this is was first put out in August of 31st, 2021. But it's basically giving some details about Mustafar, the the lava planet that Anakin first lost his legs and everything because Obi-Wan Kenobi had the high ground. He's sitting there right at the lava river and they're going burning up.
Isn't that where
I hate
isn't
you.
that where the tower of Darth Vader's at?
It is.
Darth Vader's lair?
And there's a little bit in here about that, and we'll get into it too. But this planet originally wasn't full of. It didn't have lava rivers running on it all the time. It did eventually. One of the volcanoes blew its top, kind of like Mount St. Helens, and it just never stopped flowing lava after it did that. Let's see, what does it say here? Volcanic hellscape. Again, like I said, the big epic duel in the lava river with Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Where Obi-Wan cuts off his legs and his arm gets burnt off a little bit, something like. Anyway, let's see. Mustafar was once a green, lush planet teeming with life until Lady Corvax plunged into chaos with her Aeon engine. The Aeon engine was an attempt to resurrect her deceased husband who died in combat. Whatever she did to use this engine and make this engine, cause the internal planet stuff to be extra active. So it became a planet that was now full of rivers of lava and very warm in general. It basically drained the atmosphere and also did something to the core of the planet. It says here after Vader lost to Obi-Wan, Mustafar became a refuge for Darth Vader, and he built a fortress there.
And isn't the fortress like an antenna, since the dark side is strong on that planet?
It is. So after Darth Vader's been there for a while, he discovers that there's a force Lucas, something like that, which is just a focusing of certain parts of the force in a specific area. And Vader believed he could use it to unlock his unnatural abilities, and allowing him to restore Padme back to life. So Palpatine granted Vader the planet and offered him something in addition, which was the mask of Lord Monomin, who was an ancient Sith heretic. It says he believed that he could help show Vader the way. Okay, so whoever put the mask on of this Monome guy would basically become the guy. He was actually dead, but he possessed the mask. So whoever wore it became the guy. So Vader used that to learn how to unlock this force locus that Monami had tried to as well, and that's, like you said, that's why the castle is so skinny and tall at the top, is to focus that part of the castle. Key features built into the castle were focusing chamber and tuning spires, which are the high parts of the spire.
Like a tuning fork.
Yeah, there's a special chamber though where all of it it's supposed to be focused after it uses all those different things.
Oh, that's cool.
Force users channel their power and connect with naturally existing force locuses that the castle was built right on top of. So there's a concentration of this stuff. It's kind of floating around randomly, and they're trying to concentrate it into a specific spot. Yeah, and there was a battle also because Mustafar was an inhabited planet. It had actual people that lived there, and there was many battles that were waged against Darth Vader because he was taking over the planet, right? And Darth Vader used these special powers he was gaining from this focusing, and was able to repel all of the attacks by using the special powers and special strength he got. He was he was so strong with his force locus that they couldn't even get close to him. They would get close and he would use his force powers to get rid of him. But he was never able to focus the power enough to bring Padme back to life. And after many unsuccessful attempts, he destroyed the focusing chamber of the castle because he was, like I said, frustrated he couldn't get it open. And then also a small little point. Remember in the newer triple, the movies that came out with Kylo Ren and all that stuff, Rise of Skywalker, Kylo Ren went to Mustafar to get a Wayfinder because he needed the Wayfinder to get back to where Palpatine was, right?
Yeah.
So we see him on Mustafar. And I think Rey was there too. Remember that was the little forest scene where they're slicing down trees with them.
Yeah, they were trying to get the same thing, I think.
Yeah, that's when we saw it in the recent movies, was during Rise of Skywalker. And it's weird because it says in here that the trees that were in that scene and stuff, they're supposed to be what they call iron trees. So they feed off iron, which is part of the core of the planet. So and they were special trees, meaning not force special, but they were they were trying to the people of the planet were trying to preserve them. But it ends up the planet, that's the planet that kind of explodes and cracks and falls apart and stuff.
Yeah,
it's the same. So the planet, I don't think those trees survived very well. But anyway, that's our third article, and I just thought those were interesting because
I still don't see how, with all that, he couldn't reach out and disseminate and figure out Luke Skywalker what said.
Yeah, well,
unless Obi-Wan was sitting in his cave and blocking all that, meditating.
Could be part of it. Could be part of it, but you also have to remember, something that Yoda said in the prequels. He said that the dark side is clouded; they can't see it very well. So it's the other way around too. So Luke was on the light side, Darth Vader was on the dark side. So they can't see each other very well. They can, as we know from Kylo Ren and Rey, but Rey was different. Rey was more she blurred the lines. We saw her, explore the dark side and the light side.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how she was able to communicate with Kylo Ren a lot because
That was weird when I first saw that. I was
yeah,
like, what?
she was exploring the dark side too. So,
But she can
was in tune
control
to
it, I
both.
guess.
Yeah,
I
a
guess
little
she,
bit.
yeah.
A little bit. In the beginning of the movies, she had no idea what was going on,
Hmm.
and obviously we found out, that Palpatine was doing that. Let's play this real quick.
The news.
All right, that's it. So that was our news stuff. Again, I thought those were, since we're starving for news, I thought those were good things to talk about.
I kept reading. I read something. I don't know where I just came across while I was on break one night last week. It was about how Darth Vader would never be whole again because even though he had a bat the tank because it was damaged so bad,
Yeah, he was damaged real bad.
yet he had the power to bring somebody back from death, but he couldn't do it to him.
He never actually
Achieve that.
achieved that. No.
Oh, okay.
I think. See, we don't know for sure, but in that last movie, it looks like Rey brings Kylo Ren back from the dead.
Hmm.
Well, we don't know that for sure.
Well, she heals him, and he healed her within
Yeah.
the same movie.
Exactly, which is odd because we've seen that when they do stuff like that, it kind of wears them out.
Hmm.
But whatever.
I think that I think it was. I think they were yin and yang. They were meant to be together.
Except for he died in the end.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah. I forgot to say, I was gonna say it before, but that Darth Vader's castle on Mustafar,
hmm
it was basically on top of a volcano.
yeah,
So if you remember in the movies, there was like rivers of lava coming out from the castle. The brief part we saw of it in the movie, you
yeah.
could see like a lava river coming out. And one side was a small river, and the other side was a pretty large one.
Yeah.
That had several branches of lava and stuff. And the main courtyard of the place had a big wall around it, so it kind of blocked some of the lava from coming in. Because apparently that could happen. But anyway, let's do the spoiler alert, and then we'll just get into the episode. Okay.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You're about to be spoiled. This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again because you will be spoiled.
Where'd you go?
I'm right here. My computer is having trouble with the video. It's the same problem I've seen before. Let's try this camera. No cameras are working. That's my camera for my laptop. Let's try this. There it is.
What?
Oh, that was weird. All right. So again, we're talking about season 1, episode 14, War-Mantle. And this is a pretty big episode because we find out about this plan that the Empire has from the beginning of this show. They're talking about War-Mantle. At least what's his name? Admiral. What's his name? Crap.
Dukes.
Admiral Rampart is talking about it most a lot of time. So this episode starts out with a scene that they call distress call, and it's on the planet of Darrow. A clone trooper is being hunted through the forest by a bunch of troopers and some, weird mastiff. They call them mastiff dogs. And we don't know at the time that this clone is actually called Gregor, and we've met Gregor before. He's been in the Rebels too.
Yeah.
A couple times.
Captain Trigger.
Yeah, he's a captain.
He's kind of.
He reaches the edges of a. Yeah, he reaches a cliff, and kind of is forced to go a different direction. But that direction, he runs into the same problem. He gets captured by the people running after him, and luckily the mastiff dog things are trained not to eat him, so he gets captured in a clearing. He's stunned. It's weird. They stun his legs first, so his legs he has trouble running, and then they stun him and knocks him down. They drag him away through the forest. During this, let's see, yeah. So during this, tussle in the woods, he leaves a little beacon thing underneath a rock somewhere that's supposed to be signaling somebody. So we switch then to the Marauder. Omega is attempting to fix Gonki, the weird robot, and she's she's copying what Hunter's doing with his knife. He's playing with his knife, and she's doing the same thing with her screwdriver.
Oh yeah.
And that's when Echo says they're being hailed by Rex. They get an incoming transmission from Rex. And Rex appears to be pretty distracted, but he's telling them that there's a clone that needs to be rescued. And they're like, "What do you mean a reg? We don't know about those guys. We don't like regs, regular clones.
Regular infantry."
Because they're working for the Empire, right?
Yeah.
So they don't trust him. But Rex explains that this guy's an old friend of his, and he needs to be, brought out of the situation he's in. And Rex doesn't have time to explain because he gets pulled away during the call. He says he's got to go, but gives him the coordinates to where the beacon's at. And they're discussing it and everything. Wrecker asks what it was all about, and Tech has already figured out that it came from a clone numbered CC5576, originating from Darrow, a planet in the Outer Rim with unknown settlements and installations. Hunter and Echo kind of argue about why this trooper's all the way out there. and Echo says it doesn't matter.
Get a drink.
Anyway, and they talk about how they don't have very much intelligence, but Echo responds that it's Rex and they've done jobs with less information for Sid.
Well, they're on a job for Sid.
Yeah, and he mentions that too. He says If they deviate, they won't be compensated for the job they're already on. They need the money so they can get food because they're starving, I guess. I don't know. Wrecker agrees with Tech, but then Omega points out
Yeah,
that Rex
this
is
is
a
great.
friend. Rex is a friend, and it's more important to help a friend than it is to get paid. And Wrecker says, "Hey,
Ricker goes, Omega has a point.
And after that, after a couple exchanges like that with all the different parts of our Bad Batch crew, Hunter reluctantly agrees that they need to rescue this trooper. And we then switch to a scene where we're back on Camino. Crosshair is telling Vice Admiral Rampart that the operation is ahead of schedule. Rampart is pleased. Crosshair asks what they're going to do about the Caminoans, and Rampart says they have their orders and to keep an eye on them for the time being. Meanwhile, we see one of the Commodians, I think it's Lama Su, talking to some juvenile clones.
Yeah, they're barking.
Yeah, no, it's Nala Se that's talking to him. Nala Se is the same one that was dealing with Omega, and they're wondering what their status is because it appears that all the clone troopers are being
Yeah,
abandoned.
I find something strange about that. How the youngin keeps asking questions, and yet they're clones, and they're supposed to just follow orders.
Yeah, but they're still in training though, so they don't. Maybe all that training's not embarked. I don't know.
And still,
and they're wondering. They're young. He's not sure if they're still soldiers or not. That's one of the things he says because basically the Empire is emptying out the planet. They're taking all the clone troopers away and disabandoning. What the operation that the Comoans are doing with the clones. So they won't be making any more clones. They're probably the last of the clones that'll be ever produced is those young kids that are locked in there. Nala Se tells the clones to hurry on to their next destination. She needs to talk to the Prime Minister. And they go into a private room, and he tells her that the Empire has canceled all their contracts, and she doesn't understand why they have done that because they've proven their worth. And Lama Su, the Prime Minister, says that the Republic is no more, and it has empowered the Empire. And the Empire, he fears the Empire is going to destroy them, and he orders her to ensure her survival and gather essentials while he makes arrangements for their departure. Which is weird. So that means he's pre-planning for an evacuation, or he's attempting to sacrifice Nala Se because he knows she's gonna get caught. Let's see. And then we flash back to our team. The Marauder descends and lands on the planet Dario. Hunter is still complaining about how they're risking an awful lot for a clone they don't even know. And again, Echo says that if Rex trusts the clone, then he trusts Rex. So that's the end of that conversation. They go out to find the beacon, kind of go off in different directions, and Omega finds the beacon under a fern, it looks like. And Wrecker asks where this clone is. The beacon's here, but the clone's not. And that's when we see Hunter kind of look at the ground. Oh, there's been a ship that landed here. There's been a chase here. Someone landed here. You know, as we go through, he sees all these things just by touching the dirt. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
It's a trap.
And they notice that Hunter has a feeling that there's something else inside that mountain.
Yeah.
And, Tech confirms that by saying that his scans are being jammed. So you know something is around there that they don't see. Hunter tells them to that Omega and Wrecker need to go stay aboard the Marauder and be prepared for a quick exit.
Oh man!
And the others scale the mountain. We see them climbing up the mountain, which is interesting too. When Echo asks what's in the mountain, Hunter says there's no way, but he suspects that it is some sort of military base. And once they get to the top, they can see that.
That's pretty cool. It's all hollowed out and cracked.
Yeah, little hole in the middle there where they built a base going down inside, which that's a good cover, I guess. Looks like there's nothing there except for when you're above it, I guess would be true. And it's sunken down a little bit too, so it's maybe hard to see from above too, I guess, but except for the whole part. And they go down that hill to investigate and get into this facility. They notice several commandos and stormtroopers, and they decide that the best way to get in is what they call a shuttle, but it's more of like an elevator to us, right? So they scale down there and climb on top of one of those.
It always happens in Star Wars.
Yeah. Echo reminds them of the mission. Hunter adds that they're going inside without any reinforcements. And Echo reminds them that they did the same for him when he was on Secco Minor, trapped. And they did it with even less resources than they have right now. And then we flash back to the Marauder where Omega and Wrecker are playing a game. And they receive a transmission from Hunter. Tells them they haven't found the reg yet, but they're inside of an Imperial base inside the mountain. And he's telling them that they're probably going to lose comm signal because it's either jammed or they're going to be too deep in the mountain. And he wants them to stay alert and be ready for their next transmission because they're probably going to need a rescue. Tech mentions that they need to tap into the database to find where CC5576 is located.
Crazy numbers.
Yeah. Echo uses his cybernetic arm to read the network. He finds there's a new type of encryption that they're not used to. It's not clone encryption or anything like that. They've been in the past. Echo finds a list of personnel. He sees 50 clone commandos and 1,000 TK troopers. And that's when Tech says, "I'm not familiar with the TK designation." If you remember, the TK is like,
The
what's his
human
name?
stormtrooper, like, what's his name?
Yeah, that's what I said.
God, that ran away.
In the Rise of Skywalker and all that stuff. Anyway, they get inside the base. Oh yeah, they're already in there. They find the location, and he's in. He's on the. I think they said the 4th level, cell block 25. Yeah, 4 levels down, cell block 25. So they go deeper in, and our next scene is we see we're inside Gregor's cell, and we see him looking out through the the barrier door, and he's asking one of the guards to get him some food, and they call him Captain Trader. And that's when
Yeah,
we hear that's when we hear the Bad Batch knocking out some of the guards. Yeah, we get some pew pews, and that's when they find out what his name is. That's when he says, "My name's Gregor." After they question him a little bit, and he's like, "Well, who are you? Why do I need to tell you?" And they explain, "Oh, Rex sent them." "Okay, my name's Gregor. Let's get out of here."
Yeah, he was ready to move. They opened that door.
Gregor explains that the troopers are gathering for inspection. And then they find out they're having trouble with the lifts. They try to get to the lifts, and all of their exits through the lifts are blocked. That's when Gregor is telling them what he does there. He's talking about, what's the deal with you guys? Why are you here? And he asks them what their designation is, and that's when they say they're CT-99s. And Gregor is like, "Oh, you're defective troopers. And why aren't they working with the Empire?" And that's when we hear that there's a different story behind that. But Gregor explains that his assignment was an instructor at this base. And we see Tech is trying to get into a console for something. He types in code 16 to redirect the forces, but Gregor explains that those codes don't work anymore. They're different codes.
They're new. They're not. Yeah.
And that's what set off the alarm.
Oops.
And they have, of course, lots of commandos coming after him, going pew pew and bang bang, throwing smoke bombs and all kinds of stuff.
Gotta get out of here.
And Gregor tells them that these TK troopers are their replacements. They fight their way through them. Gregor replies that their escape route is blocked, and they have to find a different way. And Hunter talks to Gregor a bit about him training these troopers, and why the troopers aren't better than they were. And Gregor says, "Well, I didn't teach them everything. That wouldn't have been smart of him to do," he says. Go up. Echo asks about the replacements again. Gregor explains that the clone troopers were soldiers of the Republic, but no longer exists, and the new recruits come from all over the galaxy. And they're not necessarily that skilled, but there's an unendless supply of it. Unlike the expensive clone troopers, I guess.
The numbers are everything.
Yeah. And we flash back to the Marauder. We've got Gonki walking around. Of course, Wrecker's taking a rest. Omega asks Wrecker how he can be so relaxed when the rest of the team's out. And Wrecker says he's recharging before all the action. And Omega's again says, I can't relax. What if something's gone wrong? Wrecker reassures her. And then we go back to the Bad Batch and Gregor. They're in a big battle. They realize that they're going to have to go a different direction, like I said. And Tex says that he needs to do some research. He looks at his little tablet he's got. And he realizes that any exit going up to the top has been blocked by there's troopers along every section. And he suggests they go through the reactor conduits to escape. And Gregor explains it's only halfway up the mountain, and they can't survive the jump from the end of the tunnel or whatever. And Tex says, well, once we get out of there, we can signal the Marauder and they can come pick us up. And that's when Tech blows off one of the hatches to the conduit, and they begin going up and down these hallways. Echo asks Gregor how he ended up on Dario. And he says he was sent with a bunch of clone commandos, but quickly realized that he wanted out of the assignment. And Gregor mentions that the Empire doesn't take kindly to desertion. Meanwhile, Omega awaits contact. Hunter contacts them and tells them that they need a pickup, but because they ran into some trouble. Obviously, we've got some fighting with troopers and such with the team. And we get a bunch of troopers that all of a sudden realize where they're at and start coming in. They, as the Marauder is on its way there, it runs into a couple of V-wing starfighters as well. They're having to fight those off a little bit. They finally get clear of them and back up to the end of the tunnel where the team's at, and looks like several Tech and Gregor make it onto the ship, but Echo and Hunter are left behind because some more of those attack ships are coming after them and they have to leave. And they go and shoot some more ships down, starfighters down. The Hunter and Echo are fighting the stormtroopers, and Wrecker manages to get after he takes down a few ships, he manages to get back to the exhaust ports, and he picks up it looks like Echo this time, and he jumps aboard, and there's a bunch of fighting going on, so they're having trouble. Wrecker mentions that they have to leave soon because things are getting hot, and Hunter jumps, but he doesn't make it. He falls off the gangplank, and he tries to break his fall with his knife by catching on some rocks or something like that. He slides off and falls down through some trees. Omega, of course, is going crazy because Hunter is gone. And there is a bunch of fighting going on with the Marauder. And Hunter contacts them and tells them to not worry about him. And of course, Omega has some opinions about that. Wrecker and him are attacking some of the V-Wings. And we see a ship land near Hunter as Hunter rises from falling. And he tells the other clones to save themselves to get out of there. Tech is not willing to abandon Hunter, but Hunter orders him to take the others to safety. And the Marauder leaves. Wrecker continues engaging with some of the V-Wings. Several crash into a mountain and get shot down. And Omega pleads with Hunter to order the rest of the gang to come back and get him. And Hunter says it's already too late, and he's going to sacrifice himself so that they can get away. And that's when we see him being surrounded by stormtroopers and commandos as the Marauder flees into hyperspace. And then we flash back to Camino, and Vice Admiral Rampart is talking to Lama Su, telling him that he's disappointed in the lack of cooperation. He informs the Prime Minister that disturbing matters been brought to his attention. And an elite squad of troopers enters the room with him. Nala Se is brought in with troopers. Rampart says that Lama Su's chief scientist was gathering medical personnel to flee Camino, and Lama Su is surprised by this action, even though we learned earlier that Lama Su ordered it. And Rampart mentions how he has always thought that the clone troopers were overrated, and he tells Nala Se that he hopes to utilize her services for the Empire. However, there's little need for Lama Su's services. This is when he says he needs a scientist, but he does not need a politician. And two troopers arrest the Prime Minister for treason. I almost assumed that they were going to kill him, but and then we flash to a scene where back on Dario, and Hunter is seen locked in a cell, and he's greeted by Crosshair, who says he was hoping for the whole squad, but besides Hunter will do for now. And then we see the credits. Which brings me to the question of the week. So, was the entire escape of Gregor part of Crosshair's plan to lure the Bad Batch in to be captured? Is that the operation you're talking about?
That could be.
That's what I kind of think. That's why, I think when Crosshair says he was hoping for the whole squad, but it says Hunter will do for now. I kind of think that the entire thing was a trap for the Bad Batch, so they could be captured. What do you think? So, and that's the whole episode.
That's more likely. I mean, now that he got record, Hunter.
Yeah. So let me do this. Well, you shake it off here.
Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, Hangar 35.
Yeah. need some feedback, people. Lots of feedback. So, questions of the week we talked about. You can talk about how Scott's been sleeping half the time. You can tell us anything and everything. Tell us how bad we are. If you don't like us doing the scene by scene review, tired of Scott sticking his tongue out, any of that stuff. So we need,
Okay, I'll
as
stop.
much. No, I'm just kidding. We need as much feedback as we can get because it's not the same without people interacting as well. So we do this for fun, but it would be even more fun if people participated. I do know that we now have 3 people following our podcast on what is this? Spotify. We have 7 people following us through Google Podcasts, which is what we originally launched on back in the beginning. There was another place. I think it's on Spreaker, which I don't really like Spreaker, but I think there's a couple people following us there. And I think we have at least one person following us on iHeartRadio, which I don't know, that could be me, I guess. But so we've got some followers, some people listening. YouTube, we now have 2 people who have subscribed. I know one of them is you, Scott, but the other one is a new person. Doesn't tell me who it is, of course, but
you can't pay them.
No, I can't. It doesn't even give me a. I don't even know for sure that the first one's you, but I know you subscribed in the beginning, so I assumed it was you. The second person just subscribed recently. We still don't have any comments or anything on YouTube. We don't have any comments or anything on our questions or anybody answering the questions. We don't have any feedback coming in through there. We've got several ways to do that. We've got a thing on our website that you can fill out some feedback and type in there whatever you want. We have an email address, feedback@kylejohansson.us. You can send us an email, maybe attach a video or audio to it, and we can play some audio on here. Many ways to do that. So please,
just get on there and rant. Go.
And if you don't agree with anything we've said, go ahead and send that in too. That's more the better,
We don't care.
We don't care. So send it in. Send in whatever feedback you've got. Yeah, we want some feedback. So, so what did you think about the episode, Scott? Anything that you want to mention or bring up?
It was I'm thinking,
Well,
it was like you said. It was like you said. It was like, if you think about it, that if Crosshair could set something up like that, whether it's all, Crosshair made Gregor do it, or it was just something that fell in his lap.
Well, yeah, true, and you know how in the original Star Wars series, we see that Darth Vader allows the rebels to get a code to get onto what is it, Endor or whatever, so they can get past the shielding or whatever, and it could be something like that. They allowed Gregor to escape because they knew he was going to contact Rex or something like that. And obviously Rex is going to contact the Bad Batch. So, you've got to realize that, Crosshair, his mind is more of a logical mind. So he's always thinking 10 steps ahead of somebody. So same with Hunter a little bit too. I'd almost argue that almost all of the Bad Batch guys are doing that. It may be something that's ingrained into the clones in general.
I think Crosshair is doing a lot more, up there all the time, running scenarios or, figuring out what would happen if you do this or that, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know who's smarter, but
Yeah,
they're about
I
even
don't.
on everything else.
Seems that way, doesn't it? I don't know either. I mean, they're both appear to be really smart. So um, let's see. Yeah. So and that kind of sets up our next two episodes, our finale for the season. Um, we know the finale is mostly on uh, Camino. They're rescuing Hunter and possibly other people on the planet and stuff. So um, there's obviously a big showdown with Crosshair and everything. So we have a big next two episodes. That's why it's a two-parter because there's lots going on there that they couldn't cram into one episode. That's part of the reason why we broke this out here to be a single episode. So we have
that big reveal for the next two with Crosshair and the chip.
that's what he says. He's already had the chip taken out, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole time he hasn't had the chip, he says, or something like that. Or he had it removed after they split up, something like that. I don't know. Let's see. So yeah, that's it. So we'll be done with that. You guys, I don't want to say it enough. We're probably going to take a small break after that, after we do that episode next week. But on the 27th is when Obi-Wan Kenobi comes out, and Scott and I haven't fully decided, but we're going to do basically not necessarily live podcast, but we're going to be watching the show maybe live together in the same room, doing a reaction type of thing. And you tell me, Scott. So obviously we want to do, we want to watch the show and
I want to watch it together.
to it.
Yeah.
But do we want to watch it first and then do an analysis afterwards, or do we want to do all that at the same time? I don't know. It might be kind of hard to do while we're watching it, but
yeah, do it after.
Yeah. So that might be a pretty long episode because I think, like we said, there's two episodes coming out. 27th.
Yeah.
And I think they're probably at least 30 minutes long each, maybe longer. We don't know because Obi-Wan Kenobi's only got 6 episodes. I sent you the listing. That's one thing that we found out that was released recently is actual dates for the show. So, like I said, the 27th, episode 1 and 2 are coming out. June 1st is episode 3. June 8th is episode 4. And June 15th, episode 5. June 27th, or 22nd, I'm sorry, is episode 6, the finale for the show. And everything that I've seen, and hopefully you've seen it too, Scott, that this is a one-off show. It's only going to be, it's not going to be season 2 or anything like that. Kind of like what was with Boba Fett.
Yeah. I think they're just doing these one-offs with these characters just so we can know them better.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. It's very true. And I think they know that us learning about these characters is going to help with what they have planned for the big Mandoverse to begin with.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if during Obi-Wan Kenobi we see Ahsoka at least once. She was obviously alive during that time, and she was never around in the prequels because she hadn't been conceived yet, meaning the writers hadn't thought of her yet. But we haven't tied her into that series, and that's kind of I'm thinking that they're going to do that with this Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So there may be an episode where she's in there for like, I don't know, half of the episode or something like that, helping out a little bit. Maybe she's in there helping out quite a bit. I don't know. They don't really show any of that in the trailer that we saw.
I'm just excited to see the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, especially in live action.
Yeah.
What we've seen in Clone Wars and Rebels was some pretty good stuff, some pretty good stunts and whatever. I'd like to see some of that. Like you were talking, the guy with they have the lightsabers that are two-ended and they spin. They got this handle thing that they spin on or whatever. I'd love to see that in live action and see what it looks like. I think it's easier to do something like that in an animated show than it is in live action. So it'd be kind of cool to see. And we from the trailer we saw where we see a scene where we're actually inside the Inquisitor's headquarters or whatever. That'd be kind of cool to see. We've never seen that anywhere before. I don't even think that was in the Rebels at all. We just saw the Inquisitors keep popping up. We never saw their headquarters or anything. So that'll be fun.
And does Darth Vader controls them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're at this time in the Star Wars timeline, Darth Vader has employed them to go find any remaining Jedi that are, stragglers that haven't been eliminated by Order 66. Order 66.
So did Darth Vader, this is going way out, but did Darth Vader know that Leia was his daughter?
I don't think he knew until, remember when Luke and him were fighting and he was telling Luke that his friends out in the distance, they were looking through a window in the Death Star or whatever, his friends were going to be eliminated, and Luke was worried about it. He says, I can feel you thinking about them. And then he says, sister, Obi-Wan was wise to hide her from you. I think that he didn't know. He might have known that Luke was around, but he didn't know that there was twins. So
I think Luke. I think Luke was more projecting and didn't know how to hide that he had the Force early on.
Yeah, that's true. And I think also, back in my mind, I think that Luke revealed the Leia thing on purpose because he was trying to, turn Darth Vader to the light side, remember?
Yeah.
He kept on telling his father to join him and, they can, defend the galaxy themselves or whatever. And Darth Vader's like, no, come with me and we'll have all the power ever. We'll rule the galaxy as emperor and father and son, all that stuff. So, yeah, and that's another thing that I'm excited to see in the Obi-Wan Kenobi because, we're going to see the early Darth Vader basically, and it's going to be more raw and stuff where he's still, we don't see him a lot where he's thinking about, Padme or anything. We don't see him where he's struggling with, the idea that, he's doing all these bad things. And I think we're going to see some of that.
So do you think we'll see
in the movies?
The Black
Wookiee? In the movies? I don't know. We might, because we might see the scene where Obi-Wan, cuts him on his eye.
Oh yeah.
You might see that. So
there's so many possibilities, and they pull out all the stuff.
Yeah, let's hope they do. All right, so let's go ahead and unless you got anything else, we want to wrap this up.
That's fine.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansson.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansson.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd., Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or any or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good one. Send us feedback.